What's up everybody, welcome back to another Dazzle video. Today is a great day because we are going to start covering the basics of laning as a position 5 Dazzle. This video's topic is going to be controlling the creep wave as a position 5 by pulling the small camp. The more you know about each piece of the laning stage, the more you can understand why you won or lost a lane, and the more you can prepare to win more laning stages in the future. Today, we'll answer questions like, what benefit does pulling the small camp give us? What steps do we need to be able to reliably do that? When do we pull? And more importantly, when do we not pull? And then at the end, I'll bring up a good and bad example of one of my games to analyze what I did well and what I need to do better in the future. The first thing we're going to do in approaching this subject is going over the goal of the laning stage. As a position 5, your goal of the laning stage is to help your carry farm as much gold and XP as possible. In order to do that, you want your creep wave to be right in front of your tower. This gives you 4 things. A safer space for your carry to hit creeps because they have the tower to their back, and more potential farming camps closer to them. 2. Because of the safer space, it gives you the opportunity to do other things, like blocking the big camp, potentially stacking jungle camps, potentially securing runes, and maybe TPing to other lanes or using the portal to go to other lanes. 3. It gives you the room to use Poison Touch to its full potential. Poison Touch is an amazing ability in the laning stage. It makes the opponent position 4 and position 3 make hard decisions in the lane. If you cast it on your opponents, do they fight back? Do they run? Do they cast a spell? Do they ask help from their lane partner? This can lead to misplays between the two opponents who have never played with each other. Poison Touch is also unique because you can hit both heroes at the same time and can potentially zone both enemy heroes. There's also an additional threat now of Poison Bloom, so you'll be able to further threaten both heroes by even just casting it on one. Poison Touch is great for laning stage aggression because you can step outside the creep wave and you can use your creep wave and the tower as safety zones if you get in trouble. The creep wave is a great place to turn the fight with a heal bomb. Along with the kill threat, Poison Touch is also a really good zoning threat for the 5 to 8 seconds that it lasts. It gives you a safe time where opponents have to usually back away, which is important when pulling the small camp. This makes it a great tool to control the inside zone of the lane as much as possible. This would be a good time to talk about blocking the big camp and unblocking the small camp. On Radiant, I like to unblock the small camp first as a priority. It's much easier on Radiant to body block the big camp. The wave will most likely push on Radiant no matter what, because the creep wave meets so close to the tower at minute 0. After I body block the first big camp at minute 1, I always like to block the big camp in the top left with my second sentry. This is very annoying for your opponents to deward because there's no one sentry that can cover the entire creep camp, and the sentry is surrounded by a bunch of trees and is very, very hard to access. On Dire, it's much harder to body block the big camp. It's harder to walk around these trees and there's no direct path to the big camp. So I always block the big camp in the top right corner with the sentry. And then with my second sentry, I will unblock the small camp. This works better on Dire because as a position 5, the wave is not going to push as aggressively as Radiant. So you have a little bit more leeway to unblock the camps. The last reason you want your creep wave to be right in front of your tower, it's less likely that your courier gets sniped. If your creeps meet on this portion of the lane, there's a lot more space that your courier has to cover, and in the laning stage, you can get it sniped. Your courier is also very slow in the early game, so saving some time on your items getting delivered can be very valuable. So that being said, why would you want to pull the small camp? Your lane creeps will start in front of your tower exactly where you want it, but it will not stay there. it will most likely drift towards your opponent's tower. Remember, your opponent offlaner and your opponent position 4 are both doing whatever it takes to move the creep wave closer to their tower. Your opponents will use a variety of different ways to bring the creep wave towards their tower. They can use the mechanics of creep aggro, kill your creep wave quickly with spells, or even do sneaky things like this. They'll block your first creep wave on purpose, so the wave meets under your tower instead of right in front of your tower. Once the opponent creep wave goes under your tower will kill the creep wave very quickly, and then the next lane will meet much, much further up, closer to their tower. So because of all these different ways that the opponents can bring the creep wave towards their tower, you need a tool that makes sure your creep wave consistently meets again in front of your tower. One of those tools is to pull the small camp. Every 30 seconds, when the creep wave meets, you need to take a 0.1 second snapshot of the creep wave and guess where the next creep wave will meet. This will make the decision for you on whether or not you want to pull the small camp. Looking at the lane creeps, if your opponents have more range creeps or just more creeps in general, that means the lane will push towards you. If you have more creeps, the lane will push towards them. In this example, not only do I have an extra range creep, but my tower is also hitting their creeps. So that means the lane is going to push much further than where they are meeting now. The next creep waves should meet right next to their tower. As you look at more and more creep waves, you will start to build a good game sense of where the next creep wave will meet. So the pull timing is 17 to 20 seconds every minute, and all you do, this part is very simple, you just hit the creeps, bring in the lane, and your lane creeps will go and attack the jungle camps. As this happens, you want to keep an eye on the lane creeps. As soon as you make the pull, your camera should immediately jump back to the creep wave. This is not only going to help you keep an eye on which creeps are killing which creeps, but it's also going to make sure that your carry is not being dove and they are in a safe spot. Now we'll go into an example that shows how Dazzle is the perfect support hero to pull the small camp. Dazzle's Shadow Wave is the perfect spell to make sure your creep wave meets in front of your tower. This is because he can kill the jungle camp extremely quickly whenever he wants to. Shadow Wave has a low mana cost at 75 and can be cast more than twice per creep wave, making it the perfect spell to use during small camp pulls. In this example, Shadow Wave allowed me to keep the creeps right in front of my tower. Next, I'm going to talk about a situation where you do not want to pull. When the next wave is going to meet next to your tower, you do not want to pull. This is going to bring the enemy creeps under your tower. It's going to make it harder for your carry to be able to last hit the enemy creeps, and it's going to give an opportunity for your opponents to dive you under tower or to dive your carry under tower. Even though this was a bad example of a small camp pull, this was actually caused by the Rubik faking out that he was going to pull his own creeps to the big camp, and then Batrider, to counter the big camp pull, pulled the small camp, but Rubik, knowing that Batrider would counter him with the small camp pull, actually didn't pull the big camp, so then Axe and Rubik could dive. This is the kind of crazy mind games that goes on in professional Dota. Or the Batrider just happened to make a mistake. Who knows? So now we are going to go over a gameplay analysis. This is one of my ranked games from a little bit earlier. I'm going to try and explain what I'm thinking and why I do what I do. Hopefully I only talk about pulling the small camp, but there's probably some other topics that get mixed in there. So let's hope that I don't get off track too far. I want to quickly note this. When you're in a situation where you have a lot more creeps than they do, and you are really close to hitting level 2. Spectre's already level 2, but I'm about to be level 2 with these creeps. This is something that I think you should always monitor, because at level 2, Dazzle becomes extremely strong. I've said this in the past with some Shadow Wave videos, but Shadow Wave is one of the best laning stage spells in the game when it comes to damaging opponents, healing yourself. So you can start to be aggressive because you are predicting this level 2 power spike, especially against Undying and Axe. Undying, you guys don't know this, but I'll tell you since this was before the video started, he cast Tombstone during the rune fight. So I know he does not have Decay. He took Tombstone. Also, Axe took Battle Hunger because he cast it on me earlier. He does not have Counter Helix. So these guys are basically walking melee creeps without their spells. So I'm actually waiting for the opportunity, the level 2 power spike right here. And so I can be pretty aggressive. And the reason you right click in this situation, because sometimes you do not want to harass the enemy. Because what happens if you harass the enemy and you step into creep aggro range is that the creeps will aggro onto you and it messes up the creep equilibrium. It makes it harder for your hard carry to last hit. That's a little bit annoying for them and they'll get kind of pissed off. But the main thing that happens is that the enemy creeps are hitting you instead of your own creeps, and that's going to cause your creeps to live longer than the enemy creeps. That's something that I used to do, was right click way too much, but you want to try and time it so these level 2 power spikes happen. And also remember, Shadow Wave is great for denying these guys levels because these two want to kill this creep. They want to kill one of these two creeps or the range creep to get their level 2. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, so I hit level 2. This is a great time in the lane. This is awesome. And Undying makes a mistake on top of that. He cast his Tombstone for some reason. He definitely needs his Decay. And unless Axe is level 2, they cannot kill us. So we just turn and be super aggressive. We'll first want to kill the Tombstone, but I see the opportunity to heal bomb Undying. And I destroy him. Now it's 141. Undying just died and respawned. A couple things that I'm thinking about. Number one, the creep wave. Okay, we have two range creeps, 3 melee creeps. They only had 2 melee creeps. That means the lane is going to push. It's going to push pretty aggressively. So it's going to end up here or under the tower. That means I need to look to pull this next wave at 147. Okay, so we pull the camp at 150. By the way, pulling the small camp is very forgiving. So you can pull it anywhere from 146 even, all the way up to 153, even sometimes 154, depending upon which creep camp it is. It is extremely easy to pull this camp. Okay, so and you have a long range to do it. So it's something you definitely want to take advantage of, and it's not too hard to do so. So I should take a look at the creep wave here just to make sure where it is. Let's see if I do that. Okay, I kind of take a peek over. I see that the creeps are coming. And let's see where the creeps end up. If I didn't pull the small camp, the creeps would end up right here, exactly where this melee creep is. And that is horrible for us. If we want to kill Axe and Undying, they can just run under tower really quickly, and we're not going to be able to do it. The lane ended up meeting right around here, which is absolutely perfect. Well, it's not perfect. It could have been a few inches down, but it's in a much better spot than if it was here. One thing you want to try and keep in mind of at this time, at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, is the Lotus Pool. In order to secure the Lotus Pool, we would have had to be very aggressive right now. But I don't think, since both of these two heroes are level 2, it is pretty dangerous if Tombstone is up and Undying decays both of us a couple times. It's going to be pretty bad for us, so I don't think we can contest the Lotus Pool. But I do want to think about if I want to pull the 3 minutes and 17 second small camp. Let's pause it right here. So there is no reason why the Undying should be walking over here. There's no reason for him to do that if he's playing the lane. So as soon as he steps out over here, And I know that he didn't bring a sentry, so he's not dewarding my camp. Once he steps anywhere past here, in my head, that's a signal that Undying is actually doing something else. And what happened at 3 minutes? The bounty run. Because I pulled the small camp and the lane is here instead of here, Undying should not be going anywhere outside the lane. He should be there to babysit the axe and to counter initiate if we go on axe. But Undying makes a mistake here and he walks to get the bounty rune. So what ends up happening is we punish the lane by being aggressive with my level 2 poison touch, Spectre Q. And so we get a nice, easy, simple lane kill. And I want to stress that that was all because we pulled the small camp and there was a chain of events that led to Axe dying. Of course, Undying had to make a mistake as well, but people are always going to make mistakes. Every player in every game is going to make some mistake. It's your job to capitalize on a mistake if the enemy makes one. Okay, and so now I peek at the creep wave, and then I notice that there are way more creeps on our side than theirs. So I decide to pull the 3-minute 47 camp. And let's see how that goes. So I pull it. Let's speed it up a little bit. Okay, so let's pause it right there. The reason I shadow waved at the end was because I sensed that the creeps were coming in. Now, this is actually a mistake on my part. I should have shadow waved a lot sooner because now I didn't kill the creep wave in time. And now the creeps are going to meet under our tower, which is not ideal. So let's kind of see the results. Yep. So that's not ideal that the tower is attacking their creeps because now we have a major creep advantage. The creeps are going to push way up here. Okay. Now, I don't know how that happened, but I missed my poison touch. This is actually a kill right here. Even if Tombstone is up, this is a kill. And I wanted to get a kill on their offlaner, even if it was at the cost of my life, but I don't think I would have died. And then we had a small chance of killing Undying. And then I would have walked to base and then TP'd back. That was my plan for the next minute. However, all because I misclicked the poison touch onto the creep. I misjudged the cone width, and it all leads to a really, really bad play. It's not the worst thing in the world. I still have my Fairy Fire, and I end up dying. Spectre lives, but we definitely could have gotten way more out of that interaction. Okay, so we're going to pause it there. Just wanted to go over a brief little summary of the laning stage up till 5 minutes. In this patch, 7.36b, it's a lot more different than, let's just say, 10 years ago, where every lane was extremely standardized. Everyone had a specific role, and you had to do a certain task at a certain time. There's a lot more variability in the types of creeps and the facets that heroes take, in the heroes that are in your lane. People pick different facets that give them much different laning stages. And so as a position 5 support, Dazzle, it's your job to adjust to all these different factors and do what's best for your lane during that particular game. So I think it's really, really helpful to understand what exactly a small camp pull does and the effects of it, because a lot of times it's you thinking 1 minute ahead, 1.5 minutes ahead, and planning for things that are going to happen in a long time. All right, everyone, that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are, and good luck in your next games as Dazzle. Let's do this!